Welcome to Business Connections, presented by the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Holly Allen, Director of Marketing and Communications with the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. I don't have to tell you, innovation runs deeply through the Dayton community, and every year at the Chamber, we search high and low for businesses that show just how creative our businesses can be and how they can disrupt their own industries. And we recognize those businesses with the Soin Award for Innovation. And part of the prize is $25,000. So as you can imagine, it gets a lot of attention when we name the winner. Today, I'm joined by the 2018 winner of the Soin Award for Innovation. I'd like to welcome Nicholas Ripplinger, who is the founder of BattleSight Technologies. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. I just told the folks at home that you got a $25,000 check, so life's not too bad, is it?
No, it's been phenomenal, and the experience of going through the whole process has been great as well.
Excellent. Well, I always call our Soin Award winners you're a reigning champ, because you get to reign for it, right? You get to reign for a full year, and so you're almost there. You were announced the winner in April. Let's start by getting a little bit of background. Can you tell me a little bit about BattleSight Technologies and what you do?
Yeah, so we founded BattleSight Technologies to commercialize Air Force technology, with having the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in our backyard and not seeing enough people kind of taking advantage of that opportunity. So we formed BattleSight to do that, and we licensed a pressure-active chemiluminescence material, which is a fancy way of saying...
I was going to say it's a long word. Explain to us what that is, Nick.
Yeah, so it's a glow stick that you can write with. So we make giant crayons that when you write with them, they cause that chemiluminescence or glow stick reaction. And then kind of our secret sauce is we do it in the infrared spectrum. So it's invisible to the naked eyes, but it can be seen through night vision goggles for the military and first responders.
So that's really where you've started looking at your target demographic, right? It was use for the military. Can you talk about why that's so familiar to you personally?
Yeah, so it's super familiar to myself and my partner, Ben at Dayton, because we were both prior service. He was in the Marine Corps, I was in the Army. And that passion for our veterans and, the ongoing wars, so much love and respect for those guys, and we just want to make their lives a little bit easier and a little bit better to make them safer and more lethal.
Yeah, so as we talked, and we'll get into a little bit your process as you went through the process of applying for the Soin Award, but you talked a little bit about how into the future there's an opportunity probably to expand your target market, but for right now, that's where the focus remains, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Before we get into what it was like applying and winning the Soin Award and what that innovation was that caught the attention of our judges, I do want to give people a little introduction to BattleSight Technologies. Our friends over at Skydeck Productions with Cox Media Group put together a video to kind of explain what this product is and where they've come from. So let's take a look at that video real quick.
In the beginning of the last century, the Wright brothers and dozens of other innovators called Dayton their home. At that time, Dayton had more patents per capita than any other city in the world. It is that innovative spirit that made Dayton what it is today. I'm Raj Soin, founder of Soin LLC, and I believe that the innovative spirit still remains the pillar of our business community. Our local universities, major research laboratories, and the business leaders are continuously pushing the boundaries with ideas that can change the world markets. As an entrepreneur, I trust these innovations are vital for our growth, and I feel privileged to work with the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce in recognizing these innovators.
This year, we are proud to recognize BattleSight Technologies as the 2018 recipient of the Soin Award for Innovation.
So the Entrepreneur Center brought the technology to our attention through the TAP program. I got pretty excited about it. During that time, I did a podcast interview with who's now my partner about the book I wrote, and we were talking through everything. That turned into a 2.5-hour conversation. Spent a lot of time research and development, and finally have a sellable product that now we're going out to field test with military units. So we developed the MARC IR, which is a marking appliance reusable chemiluminescence. So it's a glow stick that you can write with that's reusable and you can write on any surface with. So when you write with the MARC IR, you're leaving a very thin layer of wax that's not visible. There's a series of microcapsules that when you write with them, they break. They react with the chemicals infused in the wax, and that's what causes the glowing reaction. With the infrared version, it's invisible to the enemy who's walking around, but when you have your night vision goggles on, it glows. So what really benefits the soldiers is the ability that they can now write words, you can write coordinates, you can have symbols. That means this room was checked visually. Everybody knows what's going on in that environment. So a little over 10 years ago, I was in Al-Nazariya, Iraq. We were out on a foot patrol, and we get a call over the radio that says one of our sister squads is in a firefight in a large compound. So as we approached the compound, we called over the radio to figure out which way to enter, which way was already cleared, which way is safe, which way is not going to get us shot. But they were actively engaged in the firefight and unable to respond to that radio call. And all we saw through our night vision goggles was, these quick muzzle flashes inside the compound, but we couldn't tell who was who. So at that point we had, kind of a 50-50 chance. One side was going to lead to a cleared area where we're coming behind our guys. One puts us behind the enemy and potentially in the crossfire with our own guys. For this product, as you were walking in that door, just putting a slash or an X on that door. As we approached the building, we would have known that's the safe way to go in, and it would still be invisible to the enemy so they don't filter in behind us. Really cool part is everybody we've told this product to, they have their own little spin on how they can use it. The Red Cross was talking about down in Houston during the hurricanes, how they could have used it. We've talked to a warfighter who had a completely different use of things that they would want marked. It just gives them a lot more command and control on the ground. Dayton has been a huge part of our success, and one of the things that Bennett and I did when we formed this company is we wanted to rally the community behind us. So we've gotten involved with several nonprofits, with the Chamber, with the Entrepreneur Center, and just trying to be the best community stewards that we can be. And in return, we were able to gain a lot of support for what we were doing, but also having the University of Dayton, who we partnered with to do some additional R&D and the initial prototype development. Not every community has, such a great engineering school partnered with AFRL, partnered with such a strong ecosystem for entrepreneurs. It's kind of the perfect storm that's going to spin out several more successful companies here in the community. So I think winning the Soin Award, just the awareness that we've done a decent job of capturing the Dayton audience, but the Chamber has a much larger reach, and with the Soin Award attached to Battle Site, it's kind of validation that, hey, we are actually doing what we're telling everybody we're doing. You never know what that farther reach is going to get you. So what's made Battle Site successful is not myself or my partner. It's been the two of us, our cool product, and the right community. So from our advisors to our mentors to everybody who's kind of rallied behind Battle Site to help keep us pushing forward and keep innovating and making the product better. That's what's really made us successful.
Okay, so now we have an idea of what Battle Site is all about, and you had a look at the product, which is pretty cool. Nick, can you tell me about what the process was like? First, tell me the exciting part. What was it like? How did you learn that you won the Soin Award?
Yeah, so we were actually in the process of writing a press release that afternoon, and we received the phone call. And knowing the competition that we were up against in the 2018 award, I thought it was kind of the condolence call. So it was very, it was an exciting phone call to have, and when we had the whole team together already for the writing of the press release, so it kind of turned into a celebration right after that.
Oh, that's nice. It's funny because it's funny that it worked out that way for you. Last year I talked to John Decker with Obi, our 2017 winner, and John pretty well.
Very well.
He was telling me that they had a bottle of champagne waiting, so they opened the bottle of champagne and had a celebration.
We did not have anything waiting, but I do believe the trip to a liquor store happened shortly after.
Did it? Oh, good, good. Well, I'm sure that it is a surreal experience to get that phone call and find out. You said knowing what the competition is, and I can say, because I sit in on those presentations, that we have really tough competition, which is a good thing to have.
Oh, absolutely. It just goes to show how much innovation is actually going on in Dayton.
Right. Yeah. People talk so much about the history of innovation here in Dayton, and while we do have a very rich history of innovation, I think it's wrong to believe that it is no longer going on.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, what is it about the MARC IR that is so innovative that you think caught the judge's eye?
I think the product itself, it's super simple to explain. It's definitely some complex chemistry that goes on to creating the product, but it solves a real world problem that we were having right now. And it's very easy to kind of tell that story of here's the problem, here's what's currently going on, and how much different our product is over the current standards. And with the waste reduction and the environmental impact, the cost reduction for the taxpayer, I think kind of the whole story just blended well for the judging panel.
You talked a little bit in the video about how you looked at different ways to use the glowing material. Some of them were gel-like. Can you talk about why that wouldn't work and how you ended up coming to the final product?
Yes, there's definitely been a lot of iterations of our product through our R&D process. The gel was super messy. I don't think it was that big of a step over cutting the tip of a glow stick off. And so we really wanted to find that hard crown-like material that can write and stay on any hard surface. And I think we finally got that dialed in thanks to a large part of with the help from the $25,000.
So that $25,000 check, I can imagine, helped the business. And anyone who was thinking about applying for the Soin Award, they know that $25,000 check for a small business is pretty big. But what else did you get out of winning?
And honestly, I think what was been more valuable for Battle Site, the 25 grand definitely helps significantly and move the needle for us. But people kind of come out of the woodworks. Dayton has this amazing community of people who just want to help, and the visibility to the whole Dayton region through this award. We get phone calls of from other chamber members and other companies to say, hey, we heard about you, how can we help? And those conversations have gone in so many different directions. That's really propelled us more than the $25,000.
That's great to hear. That's what we aim to do, to get attention on what you're doing so that we can help you out. I know you're very plugged into the Entrepreneur Center. There are other organizations that are helping you out. So it sounds like you really do have kind of a community going on over there.
We do, and it's not anything that we're doing special at Battleside. It's really the Dayton community that we were fortunate enough to be able to plug into and build some amazing relationships.
Well, I would argue that it is partially what you're doing over there at Battlesite Technologies. You have a really cool product. So as I mentioned, you did win in April. So it's been quite a while since we announced at the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce annual meeting in April that you were the winner. What has happened in the time since?
It's been crazy. We finalized our R&D efforts, so that's going on. We actually purchased a candle manufacturer with our product being wax-based in upstate New York and moved all those assets to Dayton. We've doubled our staff.
Wow.
We've done countless efforts with the military and demonstrations. International expansion's been going on with some of our ally countries.
Wow.
Yep, and closing in on an international distribution deal with one of the largest players in the game now.
That is amazing.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah. Did you think that acquiring a candle manufacturer would be in your future?
No, it was never part of the plan, but it makes perfect sense, right? You melt wax to pour candles, we melt wax and add our secret sauce and pour crayons.
Yeah. So have you kind of retooled so they're creating the MARC IR, or are you producing candles?
We ran a production run of candles, so everybody's getting a candle for Christmas this year. But no, it's the same tooling and same machinery that we just use to now pour our parts, the MARC IR parts.
That's amazing. So what are your goals looking forward? What does Battlesite Technologies need to do to continue to move forward? Yeah,
so we've found a lot of right partners on the back-end sales channels through a lot of connections that were made through this award. We're working on figuring out what parts we're going to keep in-house and what parts we're going to outsource to just gain efficiencies and more throughput to meet that larger demand right now.
Okay, so it's really just making yourself sizable so you can continue to grow.
Exactly, so we can continue to scale.
Okay. What advice would you give to any businesses considering applying for the 2019 Soin Award?
So for the award, kind of how it worked for us was there's a documentation application that covers every aspect of the business. So you need to know, all your numbers and your plans and future plans and where you've been to get to where you are. And then I think they kind of down selected from there and brought in a handful of people for face-to-face pitches, for lack of better words.
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
And then I was amazed by the questions of the panels. They weren't tough questions. They weren't, got you type questions, but they were very insightful, thoughtful questions that you need to be able to kind of think on your toes, and if you know your business, you'll be able to answer them.
Mm-hmm. So would you say it's not an easy process, but would you say that pulling together that information was helpful to you, even if you didn't win?
Absolutely. There's been several contracts that we've pulled, quotes from and sections of our Soin Award application to meet the proposal requirements, and just having that your whole business documented in one application has been huge for future reference.
Right, and to have that panel, and I can say that our panel of judges, these are real experts, and I have
Absolutely.
to say, the Soin Award, obviously the name implies that it's made possible by generous donations and of time and funding from the Soin Award, or I'm sorry, the Soin family, Raj Soin and his family, who's a well-known businessman in the Dayton area, and there's always a member of the Soin family sitting on the judges panel. And Raj and his sons are all very accomplished business people. So you're right, these are not surface questions they're asking.
Absolutely. I think one of the most kind of the question that tripped me up the most and made me pause and think came from an advertising agency here in town. And so it's, like you said, the depth of those panels are true businessmen and women who understand, the highest level and down in the detail levels. And they're going to challenge you to think on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's interesting. That is, yeah, hopefully you have a good answer. What was it like presenting? Were you intimidated by that group of judges?
I think intimidated.
Not the right word,
a little
maybe?
bit, but I don't know what the right word would be. I mean, you're definitely in there with some of the best and brightest that Dayton has to offer, and you prepare, and your pitch is gonna, hopefully be the same way that you've practiced it so many times. Mm-hmm. But then when they open it up to questions, and then when you start getting the questions, a lot of them you probably have a quick canned answer for, and some of them that you're going to have to think through and, explain a part of your business that you weren't prepared to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, you certainly did your job and wowed the judges, and they were really impressed with the product. And not only that, but they're looking for not just the innovation and the great idea, but is this something that is viable in the business world? And have you thought out how you're going to move forward? Who's your target market and how are you going to reach them? And what sets you apart from your competition? So it really is, for all those people who sit at home and watch the Shark Tank, it's kind of similar, that you have to think through your business plan. Would you say that's accurate?
I would. And I'd say a lot of those questions, like comparing it to Shark Tank, a lot of those questions are the same. Like, how are you going to scale? Look beyond your initial go-to-market strategy. What's your follow-on plans to prove that this is a scalable business? Right,
absolutely. Do you think in the future there will be, you'll be looking at markets outside of military?
Absolutely. So we're working on our visible spectrum version right now. We debuted it on Halloween. I let a bunch of kids vandalize the sidewalks and had a blast.
How smart is that?
That is definitely on our R&D plan for 2019.
Okay, so a reminder, because I think we talked about in the video, the MARC IR is infrared.
Correct. So it's invisible to the naked eye, but you can see it through night vision goggles.
Right, but you have the opportunity to do something visible.
Absolutely, and we've kind of proved proof of concept, and now it's figuring out how we're going to build out that part of the business.
So that's kind of fun. I'm sure that's the fun side.
It's a blast. Having a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, having in-house testers, it's been a lot of fun.
Excellent. One thing I didn't ask you before we wrap up, we mentioned a little bit that UDRI had a hand in kind of discovering this, I don't know what you call it, this innovation. Can you talk about how useful it has been, how vital it has been to your business to be so close to that research lab and having access to the scientists there?
Yeah, I think Dayton has so many research organizations at Wright State and UDRI and AFRL, and then all the the private companies who support those organizations, and just having access to some of the brightest people in the world in Dayton, and then having the network that kind of came with this award to be, 1 or 2 steps removed from the right person to ask a quick question to has been amazing.
Yeah,
and
really.
Definitely solidified our reason for being in Dayton, Ohio.
Absolutely, kind of covers your bases. Did I get that wrong? Was it AFRL that discovered it, UDRI?
AFRL developed it. We did a small UDRI contract for scale up.
Got it, okay. So correct me there.
Oh, sorry.
It was AFRL. Okay, is there anything else you would like to add as you look to wrap up your reigning year of 2018?
I think if you have a cool, innovative product, this is definitely a great award to go after for the recognition, for the cash, and for all the kind of unplanned benefits of the network and the exposure. But I think it's just a great process to get all your kind of ducks in a row as a startup or as a company that's going after a new market. This is a great way to think through the whole process.
Well, Nick, it has been a pleasure getting to know you and your product and watching you grow over the year. And now you're part of the Chamber family for good. So we'll be checking in. We do periodically check in with our previous Soin Award winners, and there have been quite a few of them. I think last year was our 10th year, I want to say, 10th or 11th. So we'll give you updates on our Soin Award winners. And of course, we wish you the best of luck, and we are always here for you moving forward.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So Nick talked a little bit about, he sold it, that you need to apply if you have an innovative idea, a business idea. And so here are the details on how you do that. The Soin Award applications for the 2019 winner will be open December 10th through February 8th. So all you have to do is go to DaytonChamber.org and fill out the application. The application window will be on our homepage. So you'll be able to click right on it, fill out the application, and then it goes to our panel of judges. They take a look at those applications. And like Nick said, they narrow it down. And the final handful will be called in to give a presentation in front of our panel of judges. And from there, they choose the winner of the Soin Award. And the 2019 winner will be announced at our annual meeting in April of 2019 at the Sinclair Conference Center. And more information will be pushed out here shortly about that meeting once we get a little closer. Nick, I want to thank you for your time today. You can always go to DaytonChamber.org to find out more information about the Chamber. We're also on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So give us a like so you can stay updated on Nick and our other Chamber members throughout the Dayton region. For now, stay tuned for a message from our President and CEO, Phil Parker.
One of our Chamber's greatest services is to support the growth and success of small businesses in our community. Almost 90% of our membership is made up of small businesses who help drive our economy and creation of jobs. The Dayton area has long been known for its innovative ideas and spirit. We have produced thousands of unique products and have been one of the top regions in America for new product patents. Today's program continues our celebration of our local inventors and entrepreneurs through our Soin Award for Innovation. This award started in 2003 and supported by local business leader Raj Soin and his family is our way of showcasing new and interesting products or services on their way to successful rollout. Our 2018 award recipient, Battle Sight Technologies, was the focus of today's show and is a company producing chemiluminescent writing devices that have application in both the defense and domestic marketplaces. We hope that you've enjoyed our program today. In early December, we will be promoting the opportunity for others to apply for our 2019 award that includes a $25,000 monetary award and thousands of dollars of marketing opportunities during the 2019 year. Look for more of this at our Chamber's website at DaytonChamber.org. We appreciate your interest and thank the Soin Foundation for their continued annual support.